Hey, everybody, welcome to the Everyday Arborist podcast. This is Cam, and this is episode 11. And I'm pleased to host and have with us today Jacob Nau from Columbus, Ohio. He works with Russell Tree Experts, and he is the training and development measure. So, what's up, Jacob? How you doing?
I'm good, Cam. How are you?
Doing good, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
And I guess
thanks for
getting
having me on.
started. Yeah, glad to. Getting started, I follow you on Instagram, but have always
Hmm.
loved seeing the content that you share. And Russell, I think, is a really cool company to watch how they are doing unique things. And so I
Hmm.
was like, it sounds like it would be appropriate to have Jacob on and hear about what he does in his career and what they do at Russell. So
Yeah,
uh, maybe you could kick us off with like where you're from, maybe a little bit about your childhood and what brought you to tree work or arboriculture.
yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised pretty much in Columbus, in Dublin, which is a suburb in the northwest corner of Columbus. Uh, but I grew up. If anyone is familiar with the Columbus Zoo, I grew up maybe a 3-minute drive from just south of the Columbus Zoo, which
Is
is
that a good zoo? Is that a pretty good one?
supposedly, yeah. I'm not the expert on zoos by any means, but it seems to be an attraction because we have friends that come from all around the Midwest region to come
Yeah,
up to the Columbus Zoo. Uh,
that's awesome.
so yeah, I grew up just south of there, in a real small neighborhood of 7 or 8 homes, and kind of unique in the sense that we were in a wooded area, but just outside the city, if that makes sense. So we've got,
Yeah,
a major highway, another 5-minute drive, down south of us. But we pretty much grew up in the woods with neighbors, and really I grew up under some of what I've come to know now that I live in Columbus and work in Columbus. I didn't realize how privileged I was to grow up under some really large, mature oak trees. Um,
oh man.
and that, even now I look back on that and I still love going back to the neighborhood I grew up in, and just
Uh-huh.
seeing how the trees are doing, because it's such
That's
a special
awesome.
special spot to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you ask my wife, I've told her stories, obviously about growing up, but she typically pins down the story I tell her about. We had, I think, two or three Norway spruce in our yard, on the north side of our yard, that were about 60, 70 feet tall. They were mature.
Wow.
And I, for some reason, one day, my brother and I've got a younger brother, were out playing in the yard, and we decided it would be really cool to start climbing up this Norway spruce. And there was, at the time, we had kind of a brush pile that got us up, about 8, 10 feet, and the
Oh
first branch was
man.
only at 12 feet. So we're like, oh man, this is right for us to start climbing. So we started climbing,
Yeah.
and my brother was younger at the time, but I was, gosh, I must have been maybe early middle school, perhaps. And I climbed all the way up to the top of that tree, just free climbed. Uh, and I remember getting to the top of this thing. I must have been like 60 feet up, and I remember sitting on a branch and realizing I could see down the road. This is Riverside Drive. See down the road one way, and then see up the road one way, and see the river, because there's a river right there, the Scioto River by us.
Wow.
I was like, wow, this is this is incredible, and I love this,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that really sparked, the arboriculture interest, 'cause at the time I just thought it was really cool,
Yeah.
but I tell you what, my mother did not think it was that cool. And I definitely came down and got a pretty stern talking to by the parents.
Oh man.
Uh, but yeah, that might have been the spark that
Yeah.
started my interest in trees. Uh, but yeah, but then, even the Norway spruces themselves, I don't necessarily cherish as much as the think 6 or 7 chinquapin oaks that
Oh yeah,
kind of were over grew around and over the house, and a few white oaks.
man.
Um, and we had a hill in our yard that it was great little sledding hill. Um, but these chinquapins, and again, it was something I took for granted my entire childhood, even through college. Uh, these chinquapins, were super, super decurrent. They would grow up, and then they basically followed the roll of the slope
Man,
down to the driveway, almost like a live oak.
yeah,
Um, and once I got into arboriculture and was married and things like that, and I remember at some point I just realized I grew up under some incredible trees, and I should have taken advantage of that
yeah,
more so
man.
before the house got sold. But yeah, fortunately they're all still there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, chinkapins are really common down here in Tennessee as well. And
Are
like
they? Yeah.
there are some that I will just stop my car wherever I am and get out. Or, if I'm walking up it, usually the iPhone never can capture and do justice to them.
It
But
cannot.
I mean, they are definitely one of my favorite trees just to admire and
Yeah. It,
yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
I think for their decurrent structure and the sentimental value, they are by far my favorite tree species, the
Yeah.
chinkapin oak. Uh, I love to describe them to folks because they aren't incredibly common here. They're mostly, they like well draining soils and being close to rivers and things, and that limits their
Hmm.
spread around here. But I describe them as northern live oaks to folks because they just have such a
Yeah.
cool decurrent kind of spready structure to the crown of the tree that I really enjoy.
Do you guys have many bur oaks around there?
We do. We do. We have more bur oaks than we do chinquapins.
Yeah.
But we truly we have, depending on what side of the town you're in, uh, I'd say, I mean, the pin oak, the northern red oak, and the white oak are probably the most common around
Hmm.
here,
Yeah.
with the bur oak being probably up there in the top 5 as well.
Yeah.
But definitely the most common, I think, and maybe this is just an urban setting thing, would be the pin oak tree, Quercus lustrous, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. When I did Kansas City, I worked there as an arborist for 6 years, and I
Oh
feel
wow.
like would probably have a very similar canopy to Ohio. There's probably
Hmm.
some differences, but um, a lot of pin oaks and but at the same time, Kansas and a lot of Missouri is also home to a lot of great white oak
Yeah.
species, and so that was always cool being there. And when you mentioned Norway spruce, it like makes me remember a few in Kansas City that I admired because they were not rare, but
Hmm.
uh, at that height that you were talking about, like the
Yeah.
60-70 foot range, they were definitely rare. And so I
Hmm.
can still remember, like, if I were to drive back there today, I could drive to like 3 of the houses where those were. And I
Yep.
think I got to stand under one of them and measure it. And then the other one I got to climb for a client. But I mean, I don't know what it is about them, just like the dark green, like the lush, especially when they're healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah.
whole different universe when you step inside them or climb them. And
They are.
really cool.
They're good looking trees. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't think the Norway spruce gets enough love, truly. Uh,
I know. Yeah.
at least around here, it's just kind of taken for granted. Uh, but it is. It's a pretty big mainstay of kind of the urban canopy in
Yeah.
Columbus.
Well, they definitely don't get the water they need either.
No.
I feel like most of the time I see people with the Norway spruce in their yard, it's like
Yep.
all you look at it and you're like, that's either drought stress or like rhizosphere needle cast, and you're like,
Yes.
oh man,
Yep. And
no,
neither of
not
them are
good.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which probably the needle cast is like the secondary issue, and the drought is, you know, what
Right.
probably sparked it in the first
Right.
place, anyways. So
Yeah. Yeah. And we
uh,
fight. We have so many newly planted Colorado blue spruce
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Here, and I'm sure this is common for a lot of urban settings.
Yeah.
We fight rhizosphere and needlecast so much that seems to be at least for a good few weeks, almost all we're fighting. At least in our tree wellness division.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's time to go treat all the blue spruces again. Line them up.
Man. Yeah, there's so many of those in Kansas City as well. And they got
Yeah.
the company I was with had a big plant healthcare division. And before I forget to mention this, a
Hmm.
couple months ago, Russell Tree Experts posted a
Hmm.
picture of their plant healthcare rig with that wrap of like the cherry flower.
Yeah.
That I
Yeah.
screenshotted that because I'm like, this is the sickest plant healthcare rig I've ever seen. Maybe it was a
Oh,
crab
that's
apple or
awesome.
a cherry flower or something, but that was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's been both. I think it's been
Oh,
a
okay.
cherry blossom, maybe on the new trucks, and then like the pink flower of some sort of crabapple species on some of the
Yeah,
older trucks.
that's
But yeah,
awesome.
they are sharp looking trucks. Our marketing team and our fleet guys do such a great job with those trucks. It's remarkable, and
It's
and
pretty
it
genius. Yeah, to
yeah.
if I was a potential customer client,
Hmm.
I would see that and be like, man, that's a sick looking truck. I wonder if they can make my tree look like that, you know?
Yeah, right, right. It's definitely a good way to stand out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. Well, I had
So
to put that plug in there because I
yeah,
was always admired that. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
So
I guess now that we're talking about Russell, can you share your journey on how you got to Russell Tree Experts and then where you are now, and maybe a little bit about the company because I think it has a good span reach. I think I've seen it in the
hmm.
magazines before, but also
Hmm.
there might be people who are new to it. So maybe give us that spiel.
Yeah, by all means. So yeah, so I guess fast forward to college. I have a bachelor's in natural resources management from Ohio State University.
Oh,
Uh,
Buckeye.
yeah, I'm Buckeye. So
Nice.
yeah, in the summers, when I was going to OSU, I actually started with uh, I started in kind of the green industry slash tree industry, working for the city of Dublin, in kind of their parks department as a seasonal, and that was my first taste of arboriculture.
Mm-hmm.
I truly, I had a crew leader at the time that was a certified arborist, and I remember day one we went to a park to go treat for emerald ash. We had and he showed me the triage stuff, and I was like, wow, this a thing? Like you can do this. You can make a living off of it. And now, you know, triage triage aside, um, he uh, his name was Matt Biesecker, and he showed me how to fell trees, and these aren't crazy big trees, but these
Yeah.
tree felling and chainsaw usage, and that really kind of spearheaded where I wanted to go in college because I grew
Yeah.
up with we had a wood stove, so I grew up kind of using a chainsaw and splitting firewood and things. So I always enjoyed using chainsaws, but
Uh-huh.
working for the city of Dublin gave it direction all of a sudden, and it ended up changing my major when I was at OSU because I was not a natural resource management major to start off with, and then I was like, what I want to do this. I want to be outside. I want to be solving these
Yeah.
problems, and helping manage these trees because this is great. Every day is new and different. So yeah. So then fast forward, graduate college. Um, my wife and I get married. This is in the summer of 2015,
Okay.
and I go and work for Alum Arbor Tree Preservation, which is another company here in
Oh
Columbus,
yeah.
and I worked for them for a number of years. Learned so much there. Still have a huge respect for Chris Alum and everybody over there, Alum and Arbor, and then went to Russell Tree Experts from there as I was a crew leader at Alum and Arbor, and then quickly became one at Russell Tree Experts, and then was a crew leader for a number of years. Doing all kinds of stuff, doing the tree removals, tree pruning. I even did a short bit of plant healthcare, or we call it tree wellness, when I broke my left hand because
Oh
I couldn't
man,
I couldn't do the normal thing that I was used to.
how'd you break your left
Uh,
hand?
Actually installing a brace rod or a through rod, as some people call them.
Oh
Yeah, it's a very odd thing to have done, but it's a
man,
little. I shouldn't say it's not embarrassing because it is. It's a good reminder of work positioning. But this was, I want to say, 6 months after I started at Russell Tree,
huh?
and we got called to do pruning on a large pin oak, a codominant pin oak. Not codominant, sorry. It had a main union that was kind of codominant, and it was in October. But it was hot. It was a hot day for October, so it was the end of the day. Things had happened. Crew was a little frustrated with things, and
Yeah,
we were putting in the first rod, and I hadn't really done a whole lot of brace rod work up until that point. We were putting in the first rod. I was in a platform basket, man lift or spider lift, and I was using the drill, but I had the drill off to my side. Like, it's kind of hard to see, but I was kind of like here, and I had a
yeah.
secondary handle.
Oh yeah.
Work positioning was not good because I was frustrated and I didn't want to move the spider lift to give myself better work
Ah,
position. So, long story short, big long auger bit to try and drill these holes in for the rods, and that secondary handle uh, was already worn pretty much, and it kept slipping off. So of course that spurred my frustration,
uh-huh.
and finally it kicked so hard that I felt this searing pain in my hand,
Oh,
um, and basically stopped. And that's the only time I've ever broken bones in my body.
wow.
Stopped, and I remember talking to the crew leader at that time. I was like, I don't know what that is, but you're gonna have to get me down. And he brought me down with the lower controls, and uh,
Wow.
I get to the ground, and my hand's like a grapefruit. It's just completely swollen, and I ended up
Whew.
breaking one, two, three right there, um, all from using just a hand drill.
Was it a gas like steel one,
No,
or
it
like
was
a
it, wa- it
battery
was
one?
actually a Milwaukee hand drill. So
Wow.
that's my testimony to the torque of Milwaukee drills.
And so it like did the so was there a torque handle up here to hold it also?
There was, and that was the one
Okay.
that kept slipping off. So
Oh.
basically, I ended up putting it on. I had the secondary handle on my right hand and the drill on my left, and so the torque would make it, just
Oh.
clockwise,
Inverted.
and it was that wrenching motion like this.
Oh.
And yeah, yeah, lo and behold, and they
Wow.
were, I think they're called spiral fractures. Um, so, but they were all three of them were broken.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
so
Well, I mean, nothing sounds like the perfect job to the end of a frustrating day like a bracing job. I'm sure everybody was
yeah,
so pumped about that.
right, yeah. And at the time, it was incredibly frustrating, and funny enough now, it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Like, looking back on it, I was like, man, I struggled so hard to do it, and now I almost crave it. Like, I love tree support systems, so I crave those cabling and bracing, and I keep trying to promote propping, but it's hard to find trees in
Yeah.
Columbus that need propping because we don't have a whole lot of low
Yeah,
scaffold
you
limbs.
almost got to find like the old ladies with the red buds that crawl over their back porch and
Exactly. Yep. And the
yeah,
magnolias, and every now and again, yeah, some other dogwoods and things. But yeah, so yeah,
that's awesome.
that's how I broke my hand 6 months into my new
Man.
job.
Well, back to propping real quick. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw this was like that was 5 or 6 weeks ago. Nick Araya from Tree Care LA had
Yes.
like a webinar on propping.
Oh, did he really?
Or wait, it was a webinar on tree support systems,
Oh,
and
okay.
he was playing like devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah.
And um, it was about an hour long, and it was
Mm.
based on consulting for tree support systems.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was like
Mm.
half a CEU or something, but I found it really interesting. And he was talking about mainly how to protect yourself from liability as the consultant when you're
Hmm.
informing the client. But I think he
Yeah.
also maybe did like an Instagram. I bet it was an Instagram live on propping recently. He might still have it
Hmm.
on his page. I don't know if you've seen it
Okay.
yet, but
Yeah.
it was
I,
worth checking out because he showed the difference of like the because traditionally people make like the cradle,
yep.
and so he
Yep.
was showing the benefits
To use it.
and the cons of the cradle, and then
Hmm.
there was like the twist rod to
Yep.
actually. And I hadn't,
Yeah.
I'd maybe seen it a long time ago, but it was kind of fresh in my memory as he showed it, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Nick, I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but I think he has mentored a lot of people on tree support systems, and definitely seems to be one of the point people on that. And yeah, I remember watching I think it was a tree stuff, maybe another webinar. This is,
Uh
I
huh.
guess, from years ago. I think you can still
Yeah.
find it on YouTube, but one where Nick was, I think it was Nick Arrea and Nick Bonner in the woods somewhere, and they were explaining, different cablings, static cabling, dynamic cabling, brace rods,
Yeah.
and then a little bit on propping. And that video still is incredibly helpful just to explain it to folks.
Totally.
Uh, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think tree support systems get the publicity as much just because they
Mm-hmm.
are. It's maybe not as flashy to show as like most the tree removals are the most flashy, and then sometimes tree pruning can be really cool.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it is great. I'll have to look for that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I definitely miss that and would enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you in some sense that it doesn't get the publicity. One thing that I think about a lot is that you find a lot of tree guys that actually hate it, whether it's just the work that it takes or like the
Mhm.
gear. But
Yeah.
I think a huge contributing factor that I feel like I always ran into is that the sales arborist, the consultant, whatever you want to call it, would
Mhm.
like either they don't really care that much about it or they want to
Mhm.
do it as like an add on to the job. But
Right.
then it's just like misprescribed or,
Hmm.
uh, you know, it's prescribed to go at the wrong place in a tree or the wrong kind of support. And
Hmm.
I think that's why people run into that frustration a lot. And so I think when people put the time and passion and like the right preparation into it, then,
I agree.
it can be actually a pretty uh, helpful and unique resource for people. But it seems like it's always it's an afterthought for most people and ends up
Yeah.
just being a bother. So,
Yeah. It is when you start to uh yeah to really get a grasp on the technique and being able to install cables and things like that efficiently. It becomes something that I look forward to. I know other folks that I work with enjoy it as well.
yeah.
But I think when you're learning, it seems like a mountain climb.
Uh huh.
You got to remember how the system, all the parts to the systems,
Yeah.
and then the order of operations, how to install them, where to install them, all these things. And what I've found, just even teaching and training folks at Russell Tree Experts, the I tell you what, the ANSI A300 BMP on tree support systems helped so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
It's just I don't know if you've seen it or read it, but it's that little
Yeah.
tiny red book, and it doesn't go into great detail on maybe how to install these systems, but it it just covers what to look for, and then maybe some layouts of different cabling systems. It's got
Yeah.
brace rods in there. There's only 2 pages on propping, they're like a page and a half. But I find that so helpful, and to like what you're saying, yeah, I do think generally it is a problem for sales arborists sometimes to communicate the benefits of those systems to homeowners
Yeah.
and to tree owners. Uh, can be difficult because it's people look at these super tiny steel cables, or like these scraps of rope that we use uh, for dynamic cables,
Yeah.
and they go, really, that's going to benefit this tree? It's like it's going to benefit a lot. It may even be the difference between having a tree and not having a tree
Yeah.
in certain scenarios. So it definitely is. It's something I know I've worked with our we call them regional managers. That because we've split up Central Ohio into different regions. Uh, I've worked with our regional managers on. I'm really glad they've been very receptive of all that stuff, especially with I've kind of made a big brace rod push to kind of update our tree support systems and how they function,
Hmm.
and just to kind of just make the whole system more efficient and a little bit easier to grasp it, maybe what the cost is going to be and how much time it might take the crew to install,
Yeah.
but then also to train the crews more and the tailgates on how do you install these and what are some common problems that you run into and how can you overcome them in a tailgate they can physically see. And I've found that has been tremendously helpful for all of our arborists.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're in a way taking the guesswork out of it, which I think is, at least for me, was a big misery when I was learning cabling,
Yeah.
because it's kind of, you almost hear it around the grapevine of like, oh well, John does this way and this guy does it this
Yeah.
way, and if you have this
Hmm.
much, then just make sure you do this thing, and you're like, wait, it's
Hmm.
95 degrees and you're on the ground, and I heard you say this, but
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and the hard part about learning too, I think that's a little bit of a, not scary, but like unnerving for some people, is that you're not learning on a like a test tree. Most of the time, these are
Hmm.
people's like prized possessions, or
Right.
either a prized possession or a tree they're really concerned about that,
Hmm.
they just don't want to remove it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's there's a an element of consequence if we don't do it right. Right. It's like
Yep.
if you install a cable wrong, whether that's hardware on a static cable or maybe you splice a dynamic cable the wrong way and it fails, you know, there's a case for some liability there.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but to your point, right? It can be challenging uh, to find the time too for a lot of companies to find that you know hour of off the job time to sit down and explain it and answer those questions.
Yeah.
And that's I really do believe, I think that makes the difference, at least for us, is to have that little bit of flexibility once a week. We have our tailgates on Wednesdays and Mondays, depending on the division, but it's usually about 45 minutes to an hour long, and we get to have that time to sit down. Maybe I try to cover these systems like once a year normally, but it seems like every year there's some sort of new innovation, or maybe a more efficient way that someone else out in the field has figured out how to do the thing that we do. And all I want to do is share with other folks on how to do that.
Yeah.
So it's good. It definitely requires flexibility, but and to keep an eye on some of the innovations, but it pays out.
Do you guys feel like you do a lot of synthetic versus steel, or how does that usually balance out for you guys?
Yeah, I would say we probably do a bit more synthetic or dynamic
Yeah.
cabling. Um, I think the appeal to homeowners is that it's technically not wounding the tree, right?
Hmm.
You don't have to drill through, like we use a rig guy system, so we make a for the static cables we drill all the way
Yeah.
through the tree. It's all the hardware on the back end. But the dynamic cable, right, it just goes around and then you do your brummels and finish it however you feel you need to finish it
Yeah.
and go from there. But I would say it's not terrible. I would say it's about half and half, but definitely favoring dynamic cable
Yeah.
most of the time. Yeah, but there's all kinds of pros and cons to each, right?
Totally.
I know every time we talk about dynamic cable, we put, especially among us managers, we hope like a lot of the dynamic cable itself, and this goes for all tree support systems, right? They do need to be monitored, but it can be difficult to for to rely on the homeowner's responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, okay, you want to talk about a hard sell is to be like, oh, well, we'll come back, you know, every year or every other year or in 3 years or 5 years, for X amount of dollars to check on your cable. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I can do that. I'm a responsible homeowner. And then that homeowner moves away and that dynamic cable gets forgotten about. And next thing you know, it's been 20 years and that tree is just, you know,
Yeah.
totally girdled. Um, and we've come upon that, even now. I know dynamic cabling. I don't think I'm saying it wrong, but I don't think dynamic cabling is as old as static cabling. And we've definitely in some young, ornamental, fast-growing trees, we've seen quite a bit of girdling, at
Uh-huh.
least in Columbus. So,
Yeah. Going back to the sharing with the clients, I always
yeah.
was fascinated by what Nick shared on that, the webinar that he did with Tree Stuff on. He came with like turn limits when he described it to people of like, all right, we will install it, but then, this is your responsibility to reach out and
Hmm.
like we will plan on coming back.
Yeah.
And so maybe he already had, I don't want to misquote him, but basically, if anyone's listening and is curious, go check that out
Hmm.
on Tree Stuff because there was some really
Yeah.
good terminology that he had shown that seemed like it protected them from
Hmm.
a lot of liability.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously always using that like the word supplemental. Like when I was consulting with my last company,
Hmm.
I tried to switch to using that, you know, a lot more because I got my track in 2022, and
Hmm.
so I think after that class, it made me very like gun shy to say certain things, and I was
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
like walking on ice, which was probably a little too cautious, but like after doing the qual, like I kind of worked my way back into you know how I consulted. It was interesting, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, and the track, it's very eye-opening, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I remember I enjoyed that course, that class a lot. And I still go back to that, the track book.
Yeah.
It's a great reference. It's a great tool to use, and just to be able to stand in someone's yard and take just a quick scope of what's going on. You go, oh, all of a sudden I either I see more problems than I ever have, or I can
Uh huh.
diffuse concerns that the homeowner has,
Yeah.
right? Because now I have, this knowledge. And that goes for other credentials too. But I remember the track one. I think I felt that the most.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Personally, I felt like this was the most knowledge I could have felt like I could have ever gained in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
loved the class, but
hmm,
I felt like I did not want to do a official tree risk assessment.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think the guy doing
yeah.
the class was like, you guys did great this week. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But if you do want to do these, just be prepared to be litigated. And I was like,
Right.
that
Like,
doesn't sound
ugh.
like I want to
Yeah,
be doing that. So,
yeah, yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, and I have only done a handful of tracks, and it's actually it's been with another arborist as well, which is nice, because you can kind of bounce opinions off of each other in the
yeah.
field while you're doing it. Uh, and, yeah, it is. It's a bit daunting, um, but yeah,
Which, I mean, I get the legalities of it, but it seems we have this tough paradigm where with the more qualified you get and the more you try to be a good arborist in this industry, the more you potentially get the hammer put down or like
yeah,
policed if things go wrong.
yep,
And then, but there's nobody checking on the like the other side of it, like the hacks that are saying,
right,
this oak tree is going to fall over today and kill all six of your cats
yep,
tonight. and you better pay me to remove it or top
Yeah.
it right now, or
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
will fall over. And it's like that should be criminal.
Yeah.
It is criminal,
I
but
agree. Yeah.
nobody's
Yeah.
doing anything about it, and so it just keeps happening.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I completely agree with what you said. It's, the more experience and credentials you have, the more responsibility you get, and all of a sudden you're seen as the subject matter expert, and you're the one that's getting pulled to either say yay or nay on this judgment call. You're like, not what I signed up for. I just
Yeah,
like learning.
yeah. I just wanted a raise and I wanted to learn.
That's right. I just wanted to have a good review.
Yeah. I wanted to show that I was
Uh,
action driven and got
yeah,
got
that's
got my
right. That's right.
certifications.
Yep. Which
Oh
is
my
not a bad thing.
gosh.
Not a bad thing
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
anyone that's listening. Yeah. But yeah, it is.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
definitely. So, uh, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to think of where I left off.
Well,
Uh,
I think I sidetracked you a little bit. We got into the cabling, but
mhm.
let's get into I think we touched on your time as a crew leader.
Yeah.
So now what you do, maybe shed
Mhm.
some light on that and what that looks like day in day out for you, and how you've been enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was a crew leader for a number of years at at Russell Tree Experts, and then became the training and development manager. I think it's been 3 or 4 years now. I don't recall at the moment, but it's been really good. Um, it has allowed me. This position has allowed me to really hammer down into we have these core values at Russell Tree Expert. The It gives me the flexibility to really drive the innovation, and especially in the residential side. Uh, there's all kinds of every it seems like every week nowadays there's either a new device coming out or there's a new technique that someone even someone across the world,
Uh
the other
huh.
side of the globe, has figured out somehow to do something that makes all of our lives easier or is a little bit safer. Like, I want to find those nuggets and I want to share them with everybody else at Russell Tree Experts.
Yeah.
Um, so I enjoy doing those things. That's certainly not the only thing I do. I don't just scan Instagram all day, and look for the cool things. I do that at home. No, but uh, no, I do. So primarily my task is to organize and develop our internal training program. So we use software, and I've developed and helped develop what we call our promotional path. And the whole goal behind that was to ensure that our employees don't feel the ceiling, this proverbial ceiling of this is your box and you stay in it kind of a
Yeah.
thing. We wanted to get rid of that because for a while it seemed like we were interviewing uh, arborists and potential employees, and a lot of the feedback we were getting from all over was, oh well, I'm moving and I'm leaving so and so's company because I felt like I couldn't learn anymore,
Hmm.
or I felt like I've been in the same spot and I just can't move up, right? And I do think that's an inherent issue with our
Yeah.
industry, right? It's like you become uh, at least on the residential side, and even on utility commercial side, you become the crew leader, the foreman, the general foreman, whatever, and you go, all right, well, what are my options? It's like, well, I can become a sales arborist, or uh, you know, try and find a training gig, or go off on my own, right, and start my own company.
Hmm.
I'm not saying any of those things are bad, but it's a little bit of a limited. There's only three options ish. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Uh, but so our whole goal in developing that promotional path was to give especially brand new hires that were green, maybe had no tree industry experience at all, and basically from their orientation day, day one, we sit them down and show them that you've got multiple paths that you can choose, and you can work on multiple paths at a time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but here is where you can grow, and here is where you can go if you really want to. That kind of thing. And it's been really, really, really welcome and receptive over the past 3 years that we've had it. And it's just it goes a long way to show transparency between management and the field work, right? And I remember when we first had it, and I was, admittedly, I was just trying to get buy-in for it. I was talking to the guys about, the reviews. Like this is our receipt as management to see what you are capable of and either qualified in or not qualified in. But also, this is your receipt and your review to go, hey, look at all these things I can do. You should pay me more money. you know, or maybe it becomes a bit of a bartering chip.
Yeah.
Um, so we have when when we first rolled the promo path out, it was on paper, and I am not incredibly technologically inclined, so I didn't mind it at first. But as we've grown, we Russell Tree Experts now we have over 100 employees. Paper wasn't going to cut it, so I, uh, with a ton of help from other managers, we found a software that works for us, and now it's all pretty much on your mobile device. They can find it. It's just an app on their phone, and they can go through it,
Hmm.
and we can basically create different forms and things that will give them checklists, and those checklists are what we can use in the field to see if someone's qualified or not qualified, or vice versa. The employee that's trying to learn can go, yeah, I can do that, or oh, I need to work on that. Oh, we've got a cable today. I think I can do a cable. Can I do a cable for you? And then can you check me off? You know,
Hmm.
asking the crew leader.
Yeah.
All right. So those kind of thing, that has been the mainstay of my position, is to organize that, B, to continue to promote it, and help make it run smoothly,
Yeah.
and C, to help to help train among all the other things, right? So I, um, not only do I just manage that, but I also uh, go out and visit with crews fairly frequently. I manage off-the-job training days if there's a group of Russell Street employees that need to focus on maybe one particular thing, like climbing aerial rescue, or maybe it's spar work positioning, or tree felling, or some sort of piece of equipment. It doesn't have to just be me to lead that training, but I'm the one that's talking with the other managers and going, hey, I've got a group of 6 or 8 folks that want to learn how to run X piece of equipment. Can I have, you know, John Smith for the day with that group of 8 people talking
Hmm.
to the direct supervisors and going,
Yeah.
yay or nay, or let's move it to this week or not that week, or this day works. Okay, great. Let's plan for it. Boom, that's set. And that gets it on our schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
Did
yeah.
did uh did Russell make the app or did you guys purchase it? What's it called?
So the app that we use is KPA Flex. It
Okay.
is an app that we uh it's a I think licensed app is the way that it's say. So we basically pay for it.
Okay.
But it's worked out really well for us, and
Yeah.
truly the platform itself. I I have a sneaking suspicion we're only using maybe a third of its capabilities.
Hmm.
Just you know the difficulty for us, right, was I made this kind of paper binder promotional path that worked really well for paper binders, but every time I would update it, we called this thing from the get-go, these are living documents, right? They're going to change as techniques change and safety things change and all that kind of stuff. So every time we would make change with the paper, I would spend 8 to 10 hours a whole day
Oh man.
ripping old stuff out and putting new stuff in, and then going, okay, let's see. So, Jane Smith was signed off on that. Okay, signed off on that. Sign off on this. Okay, signed off on that. And just
Man.
basically just doing manual data transfer. It was
Wow.
it was not efficient at all, and it was a
Yeah.
slugfest. Uh, so yeah, we found that uh, that online platform, and it's worked out really really well, and it's been a great fit for us. It's yeah, I truly I don't know if there's necessarily a negative thing that I could really pinpoint about it,
Yeah.
at least from my side. I'm not the only manager that uses it. We use it for a couple other things outside of just training, but the training is a large part of the reason we have that platform.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm sure it's a bit of an investment, but I mean, if you think
Hmm.
uh, if you did the analytics on the percentage of retention versus if you didn't do anything at all and you just hoped people would want to hang out, like I bet you would have a huge return on investment, like
Yeah.
based upon that you've made the upfront investment in people to make it like make their position scalable, trackable, and incentivized. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, it really is, and it does it makes a lasting impression to the folks that we interview, on all sides. We have a, a residential division, we have a utility division, and they both do kind of different commercial projects.
Yeah.
Um, so there's kind of two halves to that promotional path, just depending on what side you're on. Um, but it really does on both sides. I've heard feedback from the supervisors and the direct supervisors that are doing the interviewing, saying folks are impressed. When they interview at
Hmm.
Russell Tree Experts, and we lay out this whole plan before them of like, here's what you can do. We're not telling you you have to do this path or this path or this path. But here's
Yeah.
all the paths that are open to you if you want to. So yeah, I think it's helped make a huge difference. Certainly over the past 3 to 4 years, it's driven, I think, a culture change too in our company, just in terms of employees kind of hungering for that knowledge, hungering for the qualifications and things like
Uh-huh.
that we didn't have necessarily as much past, maybe 5 or 7.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And I think there's sometimes people can get to like I don't know if bored's the right word, but
Hmm.
uh, they feel stuck or they feel like
Yes.
they're in a scenario of like I'm under the crew leader, and if he's not leaving, then I'm going to be under him for 8 years and then ten
Yeah.
years, and then
Hmm.
But that's a cool way to open up a path for development for people. So
Yeah.
that's really neat.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and yeah, so for me, it is, I yeah, I'm a climbing arborist at heart. Like
Hmm.
I would love nothing more than to go and climb trees every day. Um, and I can't because I have these other responsibilities now. But some days it is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours of computer time for me. Which
Yeah,
you know in the moment is frustrating, but necessary. And
yeah,
looking back on it now that it's been 3 or 4 years since we started that, you can see the growth and the development. Um, the infrastructure is the word I'm looking for. Uh, that has really played into uh, a lot of other development for employees. So uh, it's
if you
very it's a very cool indirect thing to see, right?
yeah, totally. Yeah, you get to see the development of other people like following, whether it be in your path or just like
Hmm.
a good path, and that's almost even more exciting to see people succeed on and for you it sounds like it's on a pretty large scale, so that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many years, if you were to add up, have you been in
Hmm.
like tree work as a whole?
Uh, Tree work as a whole, um, it will be, I would say, let's see, so full-time tree work, probably 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but then kind of the seasonal and the part-time stuff, if you added it up together, maybe 12 or 13
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah. It made me think of like I saw a video of you the other day. You posted at the top of like a big tulip poplar, I think.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I guess the curiosity, fun question is like,
Mhm,
do you feel like your body's at a point of like, with you did break that hand. Like, is there some like
mhm,
ailments you kind of like
mhm.
roll with now? Of like, oh, I just,
No, maybe ever so slightly.
yeah.
I'll be 32 in August.
Okay.
Um, so I I think I still got some years in me.
That's
I
awesome.
certainly want to continue climbing as long as possible, and I think
Yeah.
with the rate that we develop climbing techniques and technology now, I
Uh-huh.
think I will,
Yeah.
which is great. But uh, no, I do. I've ever since I came into this role, right? It took me out of the field full time, and I've I immediately started noticing like, oh well, you know, young Jacob is starting to disappear. So I probably need to supplement this a little bit, physically.
Yeah.
So I do. I have a local workout group that I go to and do in the morning, three
That's awesome.
three times a week,
Yeah.
and that has been fantastic. Just to keep my body kind of prepared
Yeah.
for those, and and especially for big climbs, right? It's hard. It's incredibly hard to maybe have a whole week of office time because you've been
Hmm.
working on some sort of project or a bid or whatever it is, and then go, oh hey, Bob, can you go help this crew with this monumental project on the other side of town? Uh, if you're not physically or mentally prepared for that, probably going the right way for some incidents and some safety concerns, right? Um, so it definitely, uh, yeah, I would say, I did something to my knee, this winter, and it took, maybe a month or so to heal up and things like
Yeah.
that. But other than just a couple things here and there, I I hope to continue climbing into at least my mid 40s,
Yeah.
if not longer. I know, some of the older arborists that are listening on here are probably like, oh, I'm still climbing at 70 or 80. Like, oh, that's fantastic. I hope to be there
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah. That was cool to listen to Steve Canale and Joe Rainwater like it,
yeah,
and they're not old per se. I mean, they're
right.
they're both
Hmm.
uh, they've had they're veterans basically of
Yeah.
in the tree industry, but they're still climbing and out in the field, and so that's really
Hmm.
cool to see those guys crushing it.
Yeah, it
So
really is. Yeah. Uh,
another thing I wanted to get into that Russell seems like they're doing that is really cool is I think if I'm calling it correctly, the Ironwood Games.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, shed some light on that. I'd love to hear about it. I just know of it from pictures that you've shared. So yeah,
Yeah. So, um, yeah, the Ironwood Games. Wow. Uh, a huge, uh, admittedly, a bit of a huge gamble and a huge success for
hmm.
Russell Tree Experts as a whole. The Ironwood Games started off as a conversation I had with another manager, maybe just over 2 years ago or so. Uh, you know, um, Joe and Sherry Russell, the owners, have always been incredibly gracious to uh, try and do some sort of like a fun event annually, or maybe biannually sometimes. Obviously COVID throws a wrench in that thing, but
Hmm.
to just really try and bring the whole company together, have a good time for a day, have a barbecue and things like that. So there was precedent with those events, and I remember talking to Matt, this other manager of ours, and I was like, hey, it'd be really cool if we could host, a some sort of a competition. I love tree climbing competitions. I compete as much as I can.
Yeah.
Um, he was like, yeah, I think that would be really cool too, because he's also a competitive guy. So we started talking and kind of planning this thing, and this was probably 2023. And if you're listening and you were part of the Tree Stuff Jamborees, those were in Indianapolis, I think, or at least Central Indiana, and the last one was in 2019. And I was fortunate enough to be on a team in that one. I really enjoyed it. It's a team, team-based competition and things like that.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that kind of spurred okay, you know, I think our industry is well saturated with tree climbing competitions, and that's a great thing. And I love that. But it seems like the Midwest region is missing some sort of unique event that we could have now that we don't have the tree stuff jambos anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and fast forward to basically a year ago, we proposed the Ironwood Games to Joe and Sherry at one of our senior leadership meetings. It had a budget for it and everything, and they gave it the green light, and we're like, all right, like this is happening. Like we're gonna do
Man,
this,
that's really
and
cool.
yeah. So it basically to make it unique and to really show off all that our industry has to offer, we decided to make it a team-based event, like I said. But it doesn't just showcase tree climbing. It does showcase tree climbing, but it's also chainsaw skills. So we've borrowed and adapted some of our own events to similar to like the steel timber sports
Uh-huh.
that folks are familiar with. But then also the other side of this triangle that I'm trying to paint is equipment operation. And now we at Russell Tree Experts, we are a mechanically inclined company. We have a huge fleet of equipment and vehicles, and we take a lot of pride in that. And I know Joe and Sherry do take a lot of pride in that stuff and maintaining those things. So we're like, okay, well, we just got a new location that's just outside of town. We've got a number of acres. I don't remember how many right now, but a number of acres. We could host something. Um, and we ended up doing that.
Man.
So in June, we worked myself, Matt Vaughn, the other manager that I was speaking of, and Laura. The three of us really spearheaded this and just talked to so many sponsors. I think we ended up with 31 sponsors, and this thing it snowballed into an event that I thought was going to be regional at best, and maybe just the state of Ohio, to having, we had a team that was going to come from Texas and ended up having to pull out at the end. But having international sponsors, we had,
Wow.
Senebogen sponsor it, and Clogger, and our Obsession, and Sip Protection, and Arbospace, and all of these huge name brands that I would have never dreamed would have wanted
Wow.
to share in this. So that was fantastic. And then we put that all together, and we had it was going to be 10 teams of 4, so 40 competitors total. Like a week before this was June, this past June, a week before the event, that 10th team that I mentioned had to pull out because they had some injuries and things.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up having 9 teams. But yeah, the day of, we had them all out to our second location. It's our larger, newer location. We had 13 events, which still to me sounds
Wow.
insane. We had 13 events that centered around tree climbing. Uh, I should say arboriculture as a whole, tree climbing, uh, uh, chainsaw use, and equipment operation. And it worked out incredibly well, better than I could have ever imagined, and I think better than pretty much everybody thought it would.
Hmm.
and I think it just everything fell into place. I mean, truly, I think we told folks that we were shooting for a 5 or 6 p.m. kind of finish time with like the award ceremony and things, and it was 6:30 when we ended award. And I remember
Wow.
looking at my watch and going, "Holy smoke, we just did that." So that I have there's so much more to say about the Ironwood Games. If
Wow.
folks that are listening are interested, they can go to www.ironwoodgamesrte.com. There's a whole website with, I think now, probably hundreds of photos and things on
Wow.
there from the event. Uh, and Yeah, and I guess you heard it here first. 2026 Ironwood Games is on the menu, so it'll be
Oh,
coming
get
back.
pumped.
Yeah, it'll be coming back. So there'll be more details, I'm sure, coming soon once we solidify some stuff. But yeah, it was a blast, and I am so incredibly grateful that it went the way it did. It took, I mean, it was a monumental effort for sure, but it paid off in the end, and I think it really is something that's going to continue in the future.
Yeah, that's crazy. I had monumental as a word like in my head too, just
Yeah.
of what you guys were able to accomplish. But I mean, if, it seems like a huge personal accomplishment for you and your,
Hmm.
your coworker or friend that you worked it out with. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. It's like
Hmm.
book worthy almost of being like later
It
on you
really
being able to write in your kids read of like this is what my
Yeah.
dad did. This is so
Yeah.
sick. You know
Yeah. Yeah.
that so
Yeah.
that's really
I
cool.
agree. Yeah. Yeah. And it's been the response to it has been great too, right? Because we sent out surveys to the competitors, the volunteers, the vendors, the sponsors afterwards, and we got so much great feedback about how the event was run, and but also constructive criticism. We're like, oh yeah, why didn't we think of that? We should change that up and do that for next time. So I'm very excited for 2026 and beyond, because I think it's just going to continue to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Uh, and Yeah, it's huge, and it was. I mean, it was definitely a uh, you know, it, like I said at the start, it was a bit of a gamble. And again, I'm so thankful that Joe and Sherry agreed to it and to the budget to go forward with it. Um, but it easily could have been ruined by a stormy day.
Hmm.
It's like, well, we've got all this stuff lined up, for the Friday and Saturday that it took place. But if the weather's bad, we don't really have a contingency plan. We can't be that flexible with all of these moving parts things that are set up for it.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome that worked out. And
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think I like about it a lot is that it captures the like crew or company as a whole.
yeah.
The company I worked with here in Nashville was called Chop Nashville,
Okay.
and we were very mechanically inclined. We had like the Palfinger knuckle boom we ran with, and it
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
log trucks and big chippers.
Yeah.
And the time that I started, there was maybe 4 or 5 of us that were capable of climbing, and then the company at that time was at like 11 people,
Hmm.
and so it was a small company, but also the other 6, 7 guys are incredible members of the team.
Yeah.
They are like experts at their machines, but they're people who are not either not able or not, they just don't want to climb. Maybe they're scared of heights,
Hmm.
but they
Hmm.
excel at what they do and they're super passionate about contributing to our team at the
Yeah.
time as well as they could. And there were some who were not very like industry. There's like sometimes people are like, I love this job, but I'm just
Hmm.
not going to get that pumped about the tree industry. And then you have people
Yeah.
that do. But I do like how this kind of creates an open door for somebody of like, maybe you don't have to get excited about plant healthcare, but you could
Yeah.
get pumped that we get to bring, go run a log truck or something like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
for a friendly competition. And that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. That was the whole purpose behind this, behind designing the games this way, was to do that. We wanted it to be competitor centric at its core. and we,
Hmm.
and I think, the website reflects that a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, because we wanted it to be unique. We wanted it to show off, like, here are the people that are doing this. It's not just a normal event that we're having that just focuses on this one thing that we do in our industry. It's a team of four individuals that have to work together to do each of these things, and maybe two of them are fantastic climbers. That's great. But if you've got a team of four really good climbers that have never touched a piece of equipment, you're not going to do well in this event.
Yeah.
And vice versa. You have four operators and no climbers, you're not going to do good in this. And then throw in chainsaws into that as well. You've got to have a really well-rounded team to to succeed in this. And
Yeah.
then we we on the other end, myself, we're gonna try and throw some wrenches at you to make it more challenging, and so we can all have fun. Uh, so yeah, so
No,
it really is. It was I think monumental is the right word. As
that's
as I
awesome.
kind of reflect on that, and yeah, there's more coming down the pipe. So I'm very excited to share those, and there will be. I tell you what, I cannot say enough good things about our our marketing department at Russell Tree Experts.
Oh
They
man, that's awesome.
they are just, and it's one thing, and I know, like, when I listened to you talk with Steve, you guys were kind of talking about the social media stuff and things like that. It's true. I do think our industry as a whole is now officially married to social media. I don't think there's any changing that. And that has its pros and cons, but uh, wow, has our marketing team just done a fantastic job to put Russell Trick out there. And I don't know all the official numbers and things, but I know that we have a large social media presence because of their
Hmm.
hard work,
Yeah.
uh, and because of the content that they continue to develop and things, and we're not shying away from sharing our training videos and all these other little tutorials and things that we know are going to benefit other companies and
Yeah.
especially our competitors. Like, that's fine. That's it's almost the ethos of the climbing competitions, right? Like, yes, we're competitors, but I'm still going to help you and you're still going to help me because we all want to get better.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
usually the companies they're going to have like a bad attitude about it or try to have bad intentions. Usually their
Hmm.
people end up coming over. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
they see the good spirits and the good attitudes. Like, I think I'm just going to jump over there
yeah,
because.
yep, yep. It's
But
true. It's really true. Yeah. Um,
well, even the social media thing, like there's a lot of tree companies that pay a lot of money to pump marketing, but
mhm.
you could a lot of it sucks, and Russell's really seems like they're doing a really good job of making it not suck and making
The,
it the
yeah,
aesthetic and everything. So
I completely agree. Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I mean, I know just from talking with those folks, and if they ever listen to this, I'm talking about you, Kenny, Enrique, and Lindy, and Mark, and everybody else. It is like, I think when they told me the stats kind of on the data they have from Ironwood, just the Ironwood games themselves, I think it was like probably 10,000 photos and like 20 hours of footage. I mean,
wow.
that is a mountain to tackle. And that's I know that's why, we've had a few, I'll call them like appetizer posts about like sharing Ironwood games on our social media, but it's taken that long to create
Hmm.
good content out of
Yeah.
the giant pile of Ironwood content that we have.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to knock it out of the park like they always do. So I'm also excited to see it.
Speaking of
Yeah.
content, do you guys have the? I think I saw this maybe Russell in a video
Mhm.
months, maybe years ago. Like there's a chipper that you guys use for interstate projects. It's like a giraffe looking thing. Is that y'all's? Like the dark
Pro-
green thing?
Probably, yeah. There's definitely other companies, like I know, uh, his name, I think Distinctive Tree Care has a lot of those videos. So you're talking like kind of uh like right of way
Well,
clearance off the side of
yeah, well,
a main road.
it's like a interstate shoulder. I'm not
Hmm.
sure if Russell or maybe it was distinctive, but it's like a big tray thing, and it's like a normal chipper chute, but
Hmm.
instead of going like up and then straight to the back of the chip box, it
Hmm.
goes up even higher, and there's like a cab, like a Cinnabogin,
Oh yes,
and
yes.
the dude can like turn it and chip it, and it's
Oh,
not made by
oh
Cinnabogin. It's like a darker
no,
green
it's a
color,
yeah,
but
it's an Allbach.
oh
I
yeah,
think that's what it's called. I don't remember. Allbach might be the brand. I don't remember the
okay,
name of the machine, but yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, what an incredible piece of equipment. I
yeah,
uh, I don't believe and I'm not the end all be all on this. I don't believe we own one yet. I think
okay.
at the time we were renting it and seeing how it would work
Oh yeah,
uh, for us and for those needs, and boy does
yeah.
it fill those needs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. We had a meeting out at our new location when it was delivered. And I went out and looked at it, and I was like, "Those tires are 9 feet tall. Like that is a huge."
Man,
So yes, yeah, it is. It's an incredible piece of equipment among many different ones. We do so much utility and commercial work now that we have like a small fleet of Cenobogans
wow.
and tons of excavators. And then if you have the heavy equipment, right, you need the tractors and semi trailers to move those pieces of equipment and the chippers. And it just it's incredible. It's incredible to see where Russell Tree was even in 2018 when I joined to now. I mean, the size,
Wow.
it feels like we're growing exponentially, which is great. So, yeah,
That's
very,
awesome.
very happy.
Since you're with training and development, do you have to handle CDL stuff as well, or is that a different? Uh,
So, uh, not entirely. I will assist with those things and certainly help figure out like where on our promo path the CDL qualification kind of lands
yeah.
in terms of what employees can and can't do based off of having a CDL. But we are very fortunate to have Rachel internally. She's actually a qualified CDL trainer,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
so which is incredible. She does a great job
That's wild. Yeah, that's
of
awesome.
of doing that. And now we have the room and the equipment, right? So we have kind of well, a few semis that we can maybe pull one off and go and try and get someone trained on even just using stick shifter before we put them on the road and
Hmm.
things like that. But it was uh, for a while there. It was really difficult to go and find some sort of training CDL training program that wouldn't just completely break the bank, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
especially with the new law. Yeah.
yeah, I was just about to say I think the laws changed and things, and that made it more difficult for a lot. I think for everybody to try and get proper CDL training. Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's clutch. You guys have it in house. The
Hmm.
city that I work with here in Tennessee has that as well, like an in house
Yeah.
trainer,
Hmm.
and then so they do like a week long course, and then you go to the state, like DMV, and have to
Yeah.
do like the normal thing. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, and
Yeah.
especially with if like when you're getting into the really heavy tree work or the commercial side, it's
Hmm.
like you said, it's a must that you have those big semis, or else you're just
Hmm.
losing money and time because you're sending baby chip trucks,
Hmm.
and by baby, I mean a 28-yard chip box
Right.
is pretty big, but
Yeah.
when you're doing
Yeah.
jobs of that scale, that's still, you're going to fill that in,
Yep.
a quarter of a day.
Yep. Yeah. And then you're burning more fuel, and just the cost.
Yeah.
They all drive. Yeah. They go to the ceiling. Yeah. It doesn't become sustainable at that point. Um, but yeah, that and that too. The the grapple truck at Russell Tree Experts truly is like the backbone of
Mm,
what we do. I know Joe certainly. I don't know if I'm saying this right or not, but I think he was either the first or one of the first to have a grapple truck in Columbus, or at least Central Ohio, and really drove into that and poured into the grapple trucks and not so much the chippers. And I
hmm
know that really kind of boomed everything right out the gate for the company.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's 2025, so we're now a 20-year company, started in 2005.
Hmm.
Uh, so that, the grapple trucks in and of themselves are so versatile for so many different things, but the linchpin is that CDL, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you guys burn this stuff, or do you have like a brush yard that you like mulch it?
Yeah, so we for the utility and the commercial stuff, we have a grinder that usually grinds on site wherever the project is. We don't have enough room to have a mulch yard.
Yeah.
But then for all the other material, there's a couple different entities that we use in Columbus
Okay.
to go and dump. Kind of a symbiotic relationship. Most of those dumps are free because they're getting material, and we can
Oh,
obviously go with it within reason. The frustration is always the size limits, right, for those dumps, because each of them are a little
yeah.
different. Uh, but we usually the brush and stuff we take there, and then we do resell the firewood and the saw logs to either homeowners or other various entities or mills or wherever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's nice being a little bit farther north to like being able to do firewood and things like that. And
mhm.
at least in Nashville, it's an unfortunate scenario for tree companies because there's one place to dump and it's in the north part of Nashville, which is like
Yeah.
it's the worst exit as far as like crime and like
Oh,
the
really?
worst
Yeah.
place to be in
Hmm.
town.
Hmm.
But also it's like they've kind of got a monopoly going. Like
Yeah.
the other chip place closed down, and this is the only place that at least I remember. Maybe there's one smaller one, but they're both expensive and both not easy to get to. And so it's nice
Yeah.
having those kind of a plethora of options that you guys
It
have.
is.
So
It absolutely is, and it's vital, right, for any company to have a spot to put that material, right? So, yeah.
yeah. Oh man, before we move on from Ironwood games, it made me
Yeah.
think of today. Did you ever watch X Games back in the day, like the Winter
Yes.
X Games with Sean
Yes.
White?
Hmm. Hmm.
I always remember. I think his name was Sal Masakela. Uh, he was like at least in my childhood, like an iconic commentator. If I
Okay.
find a video
Yeah.
of him, I'll have to send it to you on our
Yeah.
little text thread we have going. But if you guys ever, somebody should sponsor you guys to do like some kind of stream, or because cable TV is not really a thing anymore, but like that somebody should stream it as like a YouTube live,
Hmm.
and then you have
Hmm.
like a Sal Masakela personality of, he was this like black
We
dude with dreads and just had an
Yeah.
incredible personality.
Yeah. That, we
So
actually we discussed that, I would say, at length for this year. And we actually decided, just because of the budgetary constraints, to cut it,
yeah,
for this first year, because it is. I mean, it's a huge thing to live stream. And we
totally.
and we met with a couple different third party entities and companies that could assist us, and we're like, oh, that's going to be really expensive. Like, maybe not this year.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
that's funny.
but we agree. Yeah, we thought it would just be, because we all, we want it to be a little bit humorous too, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, what if we could have, yeah, what if we could have announcements? Like, that would be hilarious. We can have them go around and interview people after they get down from the crane ladder and things, and it's
Oh
so,
man.
yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
I
great.
don't know if you guys have in Tennessee. There's a lot of like dirt racing tracks for like dirt cars. So
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't know if there's
Hmm.
any redneck parts of Columbus or in Ohio, but maybe you go to one of those tracks and see if they have a guy who's on his
Yeah.
off shift and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
come,
Yep. No, I
can
know
you come
exactly.
be a hilarious redneck for us?"
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe not in Columbus, but rural Ohio definitely has
Yeah,
plenty of dirt tracks. Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
We'll kind of start wrapping it up here in a sec,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
overall, I love all that you shared, but I love also that there's this theme of like you have like a gratitude and honor for the things that you experience
Hmm.
personally and also at Russell. And I
Hmm.
mean, uh, I think you and I are both Christians, but I think in
Yeah.
general, even if you were to take Christianity out of it, like gratitude and honor get you
Hmm.
so far in life. So that's really cool to see that you're kind of spearheading that for your life personally, but
Yeah.
also like seems like you're contributing that to Russell in a huge way. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't say it better. I mean, it is. it is. It can be a hard thing to push into sometimes, right? Especially for folks that maybe don't feel that sense of gratitude. And you
Hmm.
try and push that gratitude on them, and they're like, "Get out of here! Like, what are you doing?" Uh,
Yeah.
but it is, and I think along with the gratitude comes the camaraderie.
Hmm.
Um, and I could go on and on and on about industry competitions and things because obviously I love them. I helped make one.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it really is something that's generated from at least in my head from the climate competitions. I still remember, my first climate competition was Kentucky in 2017, and going there, and I played high school baseball and things like that, but I was blown away of in that first competition about just like what we talked about before, like camaraderie among the climbers that were competing against, right? I still remember that, and that's what brings me back every time. It's like, sure, yeah,
Hmm.
like it would be great, to do really well and to win, and do all these things, but man, it's getting together and seeing, friends that you may only see at these competitions once a year,
Yeah.
and checking in on them, but then also learning from each other. Uh, and so I've tried to spearhead the the passion and the desire to go to these competitions at Russell, and I think that's helped too a lot with
Yeah.
the because there's been some groups of employees that have traveled with me to different places to go to different competitions and things, and now I know that's building camaraderie between them too. Uh, so I would definitely, if I had to recommend something to build camaraderie to like other entities or individuals or companies, it would be those things. It's go to competitions, go to trainings, go to courses, go to expos together if it's affordable. I know these things are not, well, competitions are free to go and spectate, so there's no excuse. But
Yeah.
I know courses and expos and classes can be expensive, but if you can do it, and maybe you do that instead of going and having the Christmas dinner party that year, it's worth it by, because that's something
That's
that
awesome.
those employees will take with them for years. Like, hey, remember that time we went to uh, the TCI Expo? It was huge. It was great, and I learned all these things from Mark Chisholm and Jared Ebergina and all these other people. It's like, yeah, like that stuff sticks with you, and really wants to make you share it with other folks, and it just kind of
Yeah.
goes from there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
Really
yeah,
cool. Well, to wrap it up, this has been awesome.
yeah,
We'll have
yeah.
to maybe do another one before it
By
maybe
all
in
means,
2026 with
yeah,
as you're ramping up to Ironwood. But
that'd be
to
great.
close it out, maybe in the last 10 years, could you
Hmm.
pinpoint? This is probably maybe not that easy or
Hmm.
long winded, but could you
Hmm.
pinpoint a favorite job in the last 10 years or memorable
Oh,
job, either one of those, favorite or like a memorable one?
favorite or a memorable one? I can think of I can think of a few. Uh, I think one that stands out was actually it was more of a project in a sense. We are fortunate to have worked with some national cemeteries, and we do work with the national parks and things like that as well.
Hmm.
It's incredible how diverse we are, and I know other managers, Joe, have all worked very hard to make it that way. Uh, but we were, um, oh my gosh, where were we? Now I'm blanking on the city. It was in Tennessee. Um, anyways. It was at a national cemetery in Tennessee. I'm blanking on the city for some reason right now, but uh, we went. We had a crew there for a month, maybe a few months, and it was pretty much just uh, going to this veteran cemetery, this national cemetery that was federally owned.
Is it in
And
Chattanooga
no, it
or?
wasn't Chattanooga. Um,
Um,
mm, I'm sure I can find it in my phone, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
won't
no
bore everybody.
worries. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, it just it was we had to do all kinds of tree work there, and I was only there. This crew was there for probably a month or two. I was only there for maybe 3 or 4 days.
Hmm.
Um, but it was it was, and this kind of goes all the way back to our discussion on tree support systems. Uh, I got a call from that manager. He said, "Hey, we've got some cabling and some brace rod work to do, among other things. And we've got some monumental trees that we need to prune too. Would you be interested in coming down and help the crew that's down there do that?" And I'm like, "Oh
Wow.
yeah, absolutely." Um, so that one, uh, for me, that one stands out because it was like talking about the camaraderie of the crew that was there. They had already formed that bond before I even arrived, right? And it was really neat to see kind of the Russell Tree Experts ethos out of town in a completely different setting, but still the
Hmm.
same. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that is
It's
really
like we
cool.
we had to tackle some of these removals that were surrounded by headstones and things of that nature that were sacred, and we didn't want to touch them and damage them. But plus, there were all kinds of trees, young and old, that needed support systems and things, and it was a really, it sticks out in my mind because it seemed like everything about it went well. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I feel like for most jobs, if you look back on it, and go, "Oh, that was a good job," but it would be better if X would have happened or wouldn't have happened, right? And this
Hmm.
job was one of those that everything went well. Uh, so that
That's
that one kind of
awesome.
stands out in my head, and I think I could be wrong because I didn't actually measure it. I'm real into measuring the heights of trees with, I have like a laser Nikon forestry rangefinder.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been the tallest tree I've ever climbed. It was monumental. I think it was the northern red oak, but
Wow.
it was kind of in the middle of this cemetery. It was where there was a bit of a hill, and it was at the top of this hill. And we didn't we didn't have a big shot or anything. We didn't have any aptas or air powered equipment to help us get our throw balls in here, but we were
Wow.
just tucking throw balls just to get into some sort of a union. Um, and I remember I
That's
had my,
nuts.
it must have been somewhere like the 120, 130 foot range, because I had a 200-foot rope and I base anchored it, and I couldn't reach the other end of the base before I pulled it all the way down.
Oh my
So I had to
gosh.
tie, two ropes together and pull that up. And I remember uh, the whole reason I was going up in that tree was there was this one probably 10-inch scaffold limb that was stone dead, and a couple other things that were dead that they wanted knocked out just for safety reasons. And I remember getting up into the top of this tree, and and I'm sure people that have climbed coastal redwoods, sequoias probably know what I'm talking about. But you get up to basically your tie-in point, and all of a sudden you're getting sucked up into it because there's so much rope weight on the other side, right?
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, "Oh, this is weird. This is happening." And so you lanyard in like away from where you're at. But yeah, but that being the probably the tallest tree I've ever climbed is why it sticks out of my head too. That project as a whole.
Wow.
Uh, Plus, there was this gorgeous uh, white oak that had, God, probably like 50-foot scaffold limbs coming off the bottom of it, that were coming way, way out. And I was disappointed that the crew that was there had already done the safety pruning with a bucket before I'd even got there. I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to climb
Oh
it."
man.
I was disappointed about that. But uh, yeah, I remember Tyler is the manager for a lot of our out of town stuff, and I remember talking to him. I was like, I could send an email to to the board or the owners of the cemetery, and we could talk about cabling and bracing and propping options if they're interested. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, here's the email contact. Send it to them, and we'll see what happens. And never heard back, but
Yeah.
I tried. I tried. 'Cause
Oh man.
there were definitely some opportunities in that tree, but yeah. So
You guys were like arborists on tour, like a touring band or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it really was. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, everything about that trip, and there's been subsequent trips. I know, um, we do a decent amount of FEMA work, hurricane relief work as well, with our grapple truck fleet, and so a lot of that, um, with hurricanes and national park projects and all these other things. Like it's such a diverse. We have such a diverse setting for projects and opportunities, right? So, I really do. I think that that's also what helps make Russell Tree Expert unique is we offer just about every setting you can think of in our industry for the employee, right?
Yeah.
If you want to do residential work, we have got residential work. If you want to do utility work, we've got utility work. If you want to do commercial stuff, we've got commercial stuff. If you want to travel, right, and you have the flexibility and the capabilities of going and traveling, we have projects out of town everywhere. Probably east of the Mississippi. We've got projects everywhere. Um, and those things continue to roll in, and like we just had a crew come back from Chattanooga this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So yeah, so it's definitely a unique aspect there.
Yeah, that is really cool.
But
Man.
yeah.
Well, that's I guess I never really knew how the scale of Russell. That's I mean, it's
Hmm.
really cool to hear about that. And then I don't think it's super common either. I think people get,
Yeah.
kind of hold in a certain area and they stay in that same,
Yeah. Yeah.
same vein.
Mhm.
And really it's a ownership thing. If you don't have owners that have that a mindset, then
It
you're
is.
never going to go there. So
It absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having your niche, right? Especially like
yeah,
in
totally.
like there's a lot of really great small companies that are fantastic at tree preservation, right? That's great. That's fantastic. I think what Russell Tree Experts does well is like having the capabilities of doing the broad spectrum
Yeah.
from the tree preservation to the tree removal to the commercial removals, like everything, right? It's like what's the phrase? Um, Jack of all trades, kind of a thing.
Master of none. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yep. So,
That's awesome. Well, I guess to wrap it all up, we do this for every episode. Do
yeah.
you have a favorite tree?
Mm, specifically favorite tree,
Well, I know
not
you
tree
touched on the
species.
chinkapin species earlier,
Yeah.
but yeah, would that be yours? You think?
Um. Yeah. I truly, I think favorite tree, and this is probably has to deal with I still have yet to ascend into and climb them, but the trees I grew up under. Maybe not specifically the chinquapins, because I've climbed a good amount of those in around the house I grew up in. But um, our neighborhood up there in northern Columbus, I think, truly has some of the last standing old growth white oaks in central
Hmm.
Ohio. I mean, these things are pushing 100 feet tall
Oh my
with
gosh.
that super, like platey bark that real
Oh
old white oaks
yeah.
get, right? That you don't see very often. Um, but they are incredible. So I would say every time I would say those that stand of trees is my favorite. I mean, I just we're still great friends with those neighbors up there that own those trees, and every time I feel guilty because I'm just out there in their yard, just just gawking at these trees. It's like, oh hey, yeah, it's great to see you, but I'm gonna go look at your trees.
That
uh,
is so awesome.
but yeah, yeah. Hopefully one day I'll get out there and actually get up at some of those.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Man,
But
well, this has been a great conversation,
yeah,
and I
has been.
appreciate your time. I know it's you're on the Eastern time zone, so you're burning some late night oil, and I hope
Yeah.
you guys listening on YouTube and Spotify enjoyed the conversation. And there'll definitely be a lot more to come from Russell Tree experts, probably for the Ironwood Games in
Hmm.
2026. And Jacob is on Instagram as well if you want to
Yep.
follow him, and he's always sharing a lot of great stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And likewise,
Um,
Cam, thank you for this.
yeah,
It has been a great conversation. Yeah,
yeah, glad to have you on,
this,
man. Yeah.
yeah, this is my first podcast, so it's been
Well,
great.
it's
Been
my
great.
11th, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty fun. I'm having fun with it, and I think it's bringing some value to hopefully people driving or working or
Yeah,
something. So that's
it
awesome.
absolutely does. Yeah, yeah,
Sweet.
great.
Well, we fought the internet demons at the beginning and we won,
We
so
did,
that's
we did.
great.
A little bit of troubleshooting there, but yeah, yeah,
Cool,
it's been
man.
great.
Well, thanks
Oh,
everybody for listening, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And Jacob, I'll catch you on the other side of the recording.
sounds great.
So
Thank you, Cam.
we'll see you guys.